the water's fine, homie, jump into the deep end. Sow it, you will reap it. We talking how to start it, how to grow it, how to keep it. Take a deep breath. You are now rocking with Founder Secrets.
So what were you saying about the blank field?
So Sam Bankman somehow, first of all, he's 30 years old. His birthday is March of 92. And he is, he's somehow the savior of everything having to do with crypto.
Yeah, and he looks like he's walking around like Richard Stillman or the guy that invented Unix. It's like always wearing shorts and sandals everywhere. Anyway, so.
But so in the early 20th century, there was a huge banking crisis. Everyone was scared about the banks. It's the exact thing crypto is going through right now. And JP Morgan stepped in and he bailed out. This was before the Federal Reserve, and he bailed out the U.S. government. And he became the Federal Reserve. And so he called all these, this like famous story in like 1910 or something where he single-handedly caused, a restoration of faith and the kind of banking system, right? Because money was flaying banks and all this. And Matt Levine says that crypto relearns all the lessons of finance, just 100 years later. And it feels that Sam is somehow the 30-year-old JP Morgan.
Yeah, he's kind of a troll.
What's he trolling?
Everybody. I mean, he just bought what's that crypto company that was about to go?
Celsius?
Yeah.
Or he bid on Celsius.
Bankrupt. And he's just buying them left and right. But,
Voyager.
Yeah.
Voyager.
Which I don't even know what Voyager does.
I don't either. I don't know what any of them do. I think they're all just scams. And
I think the only reason he's even doing this is because he realizes his business is a scam. And it's like multi-billion dollars. And he's like, oh shit, if people lose faith in the whole crypto community, my scam is going to suffer. So he's buying these just for us to be like, okay, crypto's still okay. We shouldn't all like sell our Bitcoin immediately and cause, his scam to be discovered.
Totally. I think, he was a greater fool's theory. He kind of knows what's going on. So I think that, so are you familiar with Twitter and Elon are in this lawsuit right now, and there's a big drop of court documents. Did you see this?
No.
So this was leaked like late yesterday, and all it is a hilarious set of text messages between Elon, the CEO of Twitter, but it's also a bunch of other funny people. It's like a who's who of Silicon Valley, and they're private text messages, and they're all leaked, and the texts are like pretty. Okay, so one of the texts is with Larry Ellison, the billionaire founder of Oracle. Larry Ellison's like 75, and he texts like a 25-year-old, and it's just the actual text messages in there, and Larry says some equivalent of "I'm in for 1 billion," and it is just like me saying to you, I'm in for dinner tonight. And Larry Ellison says, I'm in for 1B question. And then Elon goes back and forth, and Elon gets him to say, well, maybe that's not enough. So Larry Ellison is going in for $2 billion, all via text message. And it's hilarious. The other funny one is Mark Andreessen, I guess has a WhatsApp thread going with somebody on Elon's team. And the guy on Elon's team is like, yeah, I'm in for, or are you in for 250 million? And he says, yeah, but who do I email? Like, there's just a WhatsApp thread. Like, how do we formalize this?
Is there an Indiegogo page?
Where do I enter my details? Like, how does the money get to you? But I guess at that time, no money was trading hands. It was just a commitment. Like these were all commitments, right? No money ended up trading hands. But then he writes this kind of like formal looking email and copies in some person, including Elon. That's how it made it in these court documents. And all it is an email that says, hi, Elon, per the description, per the text thread. And he pastes a screenshot of the text message thread in there. I'm in for 250 million.
What did Jack Dorsey say?
Oh, so Jack Dorsey. I guess that was the one that had all the attention, because Jack Dorsey, who is at the time still on Twitter's board, says, effectively that it's become an animal that he comes up with all these ideas. He's like, I don't think it should be profit. There should be no.
By the way, also a guy who kind of looks like Sam Bankman, just trying to look like, it's like his goal. It's like Jack Dorsey's goal is to be Sam Bankman. Rename his company after like some Shit. He's like, I just want to be this guy.
I think you're right. Like, I think that a lot of these guys, anyway. So, so he basically just like trashes the company he created. But
oh, really? On the Twitter, on the text message?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But the best one is with, I think his name's Parag. So he's the CEO. And
by the way, I was looking up, that guy's like 34 or something, 35.
Is he?
He's super young to be CEO of such a $30 billion company.
All these people are so young. But the I'm trying to find the actual text because it's hilarious. It's in the court document.
He was CTO. I feel like Jack Dorsey just got bored of Twitter and he just looked like to the next guy that he kind of liked. And it's like, why don't you be CEO for a while? And he backed up. He just like left.
Well, yeah, but then he started Square. Then, he did his sabbatical. He did a Steve Jobs sabbatical and, he wasn't wearing shoes and grew his beard out. Yeah. All that.
All right. What else you got?
Oh, so I think, okay, this came out today. So this guy I follow, he writes a security blog and he's writing about how there's this rise. In the last week, there's been this rise of people creating LinkedIn profiles that claim that they're chief information security officers, CISOs of Fortune 500 companies. And the question is, why? And there's no verification. So like you could add on to LinkedIn, I am CISO or I'm CISO of TrueCar, and nobody verifies it. Like, okay, not only that, but Google pulls all their data. So if you Google who is CISO of TrueCar, they pull that data from LinkedIn. And so when people are Googling it, because they think that Google is an authoritative source, all Google does is go look up on LinkedIn. LinkedIn data is not authenticated. And if you own that page, so if you're an HR manager of TrueCar or any of these companies, PepsiCo, Ford, you have no ability to kick people off your page. So somebody can say they work for Amazon or they work for any of these companies and you can't override it. They just add it to their profile and that's it. And so the big question is, okay, well, why are they doing this? But the blog post I was reading was saying that it's already being picked up. Google's already indexed it. So they named some security company. And if you Google CISO of, it names this fake guy. Like the guy who's not it. It's actually a woman, I think, that's the CISO. It's like, why are they doing that? And it's kind of like a big problem.
It's so true. We've had this problem in Amplicare, I remember, because there was another company with the same name, and the employees from the old company that we took the domain name from, they were still showed up on the page, which at the time was a good thing because we wanted to show like we had more employees than we did. Actually, something else that did in the early days of Troy is, how there's like different like sizes of like 0 to 10 employees or 10 to 25, 20, and even investors like VCs and Crunchbase and all these, what's the other one that all the VCs buy data from these companies like Crunchbase to be like, well, who's the company that's growing? Well, how do you know a company's growing is if you look at the number of employees, right? So if your employees start going from like 0 to 10 to like 50, they're like, holy shit, this company's taking off. We gotta stay on top of this. And you show up on different searches, right? Like on Crunchbase, like would you want companies between 0 and 25 employees,
totally,
or 26 and 100? And we were on one of these cusps where we had like, I don't know, 9 employees, I think it was, and we wanted to be like in the 10 to 25, or I believe maybe it was 24, whatever it was. And I added some people. I don't know if this is against LinkedIn's terms of service, but I added some like fake developers in profiles.
I love it.
That all worked at our company, no profile photo, just like the most bland, but that boosted our numbers. So now we're on the next tier. And people even reached out. They're like, "Oh, I see you've added a lot of engineers recently." In fact, we had somebody in our executive team be like, "Hey, who's this person? Who are these people that LinkedIn says they work for us, and I don't have them as our CFO? It's like I don't have them in our HR. Like this is like concerning." I was like, "Yeah, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it."
That's a hack that I don't know if it's okay with LinkedIn or not, but.
I don't know how they police any of this stuff. Like, how would you prove, how could LinkedIn know that those engineers did or didn't work for you?
But yeah, that's the point. They were like, if I change their title to CEO,
right?
I guess, the company couldn't do anything about it.
So this happens all the time with Like when we're reaching out to franchises. So like, let's say Keller Williams, right? So there's Keller Williamses all over the country. But if you go, because Keller Williams is a real estate company, there's a Keller Williams, but there are these real estate teams that will create like Keller Williams, you're the Keller Williams Flavio New York City team. But on LinkedIn, do you add that you might just say that you're founder or CEO, but you add Keller Williams. So if you go on Keller Williams, like any of these ones that have Dogtopia, California Closets, any of these ones that have franchises, if you try to find the executives of these companies on LinkedIn, it's impossible because there's like 50 owners, there's like 600 CEOs, they all say founder. Like it's very, very difficult because in your mind, you run that local franchise, right? And you are the CEO, but it's impossible. Like it's hard. So you go to the corporate site, you go to the website, like LinkedIn is worthless. You go to the website and you try to look them up, but I don't even know how would LinkedIn even police this? Like, because they don't know,
So were we talking that LinkedIn is like really hard to scrape? Like they're really aggressive about bots and they'll kick you off very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So talking to you and
but somehow people are getting this data though.
Yeah, like we'll say it was Google. Then how's Google able to pull this data? Does Google have like a special relationship with LinkedIn?
I think it's a great question. I would love to know as well.
Because if you and I start pulling everybody's title and make it a Wikipedia,
we'll get banned.
Exactly. If we start offering a service like, well, do you want to know who CEO of this CISO of the security company is? We'll tell you. I don't think we can do it because LinkedIn will ban us if we scrape it. But Google's like impossible to replace at this point. It's really, really frustrating, but really great for them.
So do you remember in the early days of the internet, when we were yay big, remember that Yahoo used to be handwritten? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
Like it was like Yahoo was not a search engine. It was like a database of links.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be cool to return to that? Like, I think that there's always room for Google, but wouldn't it be interesting if, I don't know, for programmers or for healthcare?
Totally. And what I think about a lot is most of Google's searches that I do have old data, right? So I look for this video thing, like podcasting stuff. They're like, oh, well, this is how podcasting was done 5 years ago. And like, okay, well, I need something more. So I always have to like change that filter of like, only show me things in the last month, which I guess helps a bit. But then like developer stuff especially is so hard because you have a Stack Overflow article from 10 years ago, which usually means it's out of date. But sometimes it's not. Like some things like just never change. That was like always how the answer was to this development Python thing. And now that's still the authoritative source from 10 years ago. So that seems like a more challenging problem to solve.
Yeah, I add like Reddit. So I'll say best podcast software, space Reddit. Or I'll add space Twitter and then just use Google to search Twitter or Reddit or Stack Overflow. But now, it works great. But now people are catching on that Reddit is this big repository of, and so now people are hacking that, hacking it, but they're creating garbage content over there too. It's frustrating.
Yeah, so for instance, finding the best happy hour places in New York seems like really
great example.
First, because like a lot of them have closed over COVID, so it's like impossible to tell. Even Yelp and Google doesn't know what's open and what's not anymore. So I started using TikTok.
Oh, that's great.
That shows people actually make these TikToks. They're like, hey, here's the 10 best places in New York right now, and it's just TikTok. Except TikTok, for whatever reason, or maybe these people just can't find a way to do links, like a way to actually act upon that, because TikTok's very geared at just keeping you in TikTok. So like, oh, we want more of these? Like, here's the 5 best restaurants. Here's the 4 best fast food. And it's like, no. I just want the link to the Google page of that. So TikTok seems more relevant, but much harder to search or get off of once you're on it.
I wonder where they get. Okay, so my fiance now is like super into TikTok too. She does the same thing. Like she, we used to read The Infatuation, or you'd read these, but you're right. Like she found this steakhouse that does a wine night. You get steak, unlimited wine for $95, and you get dessert and an appetizer. $95, but it's only Friday and Saturday night after 8 p.m. We would have never found that. It's called like Wine Nights. And we went.
TikTok.
Yeah, which she found it on TikTok. And the thing is too, is that a lot of these reviews are from professional people. They're not from people like you and I. But TikTok, to your point, it's from somebody like you and I. It's somebody who goes there, they take a video of the food. Here's what the place kind of looks like. You get a whole feel for it in 60 seconds. And I guess that's what you're saying.
No, I like that. Also for like people bypassing the traditional channels. Like I was just finding this comedian, Andrew, what's his name? It's like a really famous comedian that was going to release a show on Amazon. Amazon like bought the rights and whatnot, but then he had some controversial stuff and it was about abortion in the comedy show. So Amazon was like, hey, we're not going to do it unless you remove this. And he was like, no, fuck you. I'm like taking my show and doing it myself. And he just released it on YouTube for a period of time. And you have to pay. It was like his own thing. And apparently made millions of dollars. And he didn't have to use like Netflix or Amazon or any of this. He's super funny. He's a little like, raunchy and girly. But
oh, you watched it?
Actually he took it down. So I've only watched, now he only has these like shorts and like bits and pieces. I don't know, he took the main thing down. He wanted to be like a limited time. Maybe it's out of date because his jokes are so like racist or like about abortion and now he's like changed his mind. I don't know, but it's not there anymore. Maybe he'll bring it back. But it was there like a month ago.
Oh, this is very recent. Yeah, I'm with you. Like going outside the healthcare circle or going outside the sales channels or music or speaking of, so I was reading that there's this rise of people who create fake musician profiles. So if you Google, it's like in India. So if you Google an Indian name, then it'll show them as an authoritative artist. And this guide that I was reading shows you how to do it. Like how to take somebody who's a nobody, like you're some kid in India, you're a 16-year-old kid. This is like a prank that they play. So you're a 16-year-old kid and it's every step that you take to show up in Google as a recording artist with your own Spotify page, with your own, okay, here's how they do it. The net is like you start with a Twitter, you start with like a Twitter account and then you create some fake music. You create a whole album and you upload it to Spotify and then you upload it to Spotify and then now you need some streams. Cause once you get streams,
you can buy streams,
Wow. Or they have their friends, like they have some friends and now you have like 2 or 3 months worth of, let's say a few hundred or a few thousand streams. But then you use that to look more legitimate to Google. And it's just this circle that these things all feed on each other. And then the big one is you get the blue check mark from Twitter. So you use the hundreds or the thousands of streams that are all fake on Spotify to go to Twitter and be like, hey, I'm a real artist. I have this Instagram.
How do you do that on Twitter?
This guide showed you how to do it. Like it's all like an appealing process or whatever, but apparently it works. And this guide, these guys charge a lot of money for it, $10,000 or something, because it takes a few months. It's not something you do in an afternoon, but you just kind of do the machine. And then at the end of it, it showed the end result. Like it showed the Google, if you Google this guy's name before, you Google Taylor Tressy before, just like a normal dude, and Google Taylor Tressy 6 months from now, it's like a full blown page. Shows like recording artists. There's a Wikipedia page for you, links to your Spotify songs, says your top songs. It looks legit.
Wow. So did they make money? Like, does this result in a revenue stream for these people?
I guess it's a good question. You're like, what do you...
Or how much do they spend to even get this guy's services?
Yeah, it seems like a lot.
It's like I was talking to a guy that works at Spotify, and they have like a whole team dedicated to anti, fake listens. And
really?
Apparently, people go to elaborate lengths to pretend like they're a valid listener. Like this is a big war. It's like the Google, ads team trying to fight, fake clicks to drive up revenue for.
Oh, because Spotify has to pay money, right? They pay money for every stream, I guess.
Yeah, they pay Taylor Swift or whatever. Taylor Swift's actually not on there. Everybody except Taylor Swift.
Maybe she's back now. I don't know.
All right, so let's see. I had some leads for you.
Let's go.
I already told you about the HubermanLab Podcast.
That's recording.
And this guy, the HubermanLab, he does these like super long podcasts. Usually I hate to listen to super long podcasts, but this guy's just the kind of guy you can put it on and just go walking. And he just goes so deep on various health related topics. And he's just so detailed. It's hard to explain. You gotta listen to it. He's very prepared. He apparently spends all-nighters preparing the podcast, which is a lot more than what we've done to prepare for this podcast.
But what's your favorite podcast episode from him?
Well, he interviews Peter Attia, which, by the way, that's a big key for a podcast, is interviewing other people that are popular on their podcast. It's like a great way to boost your podcast, because then all the listeners, like I know Peter Attia from his podcast. And by the way, I learned about Peter Attia. This is a doctor on longevity, like really got famous in the last few years on longevity. But you know how I learned about him? It's from Kevin Rose's podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Who founded Dig, which is like not a real company anymore. But,
never was.
But he was like, yeah, I have this doctor, Peter Attia, and then boom, I follow him. And then he's just been, in fact, I'm even a subscriber to his shit. And then I found David Huberman's podcast. I forget how.
Remember when Dig, he was on the cover of Wired? This is what, 99, 2000, 2001? And Dig was worth $20 million or something. And back then.
Yeah, it was like the next, Mark Andreessen,
I guess he went on to do.
That happens a lot. That's the thing with all these founder porn is that you see these people and you're like, oh my God, I'm such a failure because, Dig is so popular and all they do is like, have links like with thumbs up and thumbs down. Like I could have done that. I could do that right now. But you're like, oh, I'm never going to do it because, he's already famous and successful. But then you find out Dig's actually failed. And there's probably 1,000 other Dig clones that never made it. So
it was a Groupon.
It feel good to know Kevin Rose did become Mark Andreessen.
Well, I think
actually he's doing fine.
Yeah, he's doing fine, right? Like does he run a fund now?
He's doing fine. He's doing fine. He's big on like crypto, so that
I guess he missed 2 boats there.
He's fine. I'm not worried about it. But anyway, so that's Superhuman. The other thing, do you know SuperHuman?
You love SuperHuman.
You haven't tried it?
No, I tried it once. Why do you like it?
I guess I like keyboard shortcuts is where this all stems from. And then I got really into Vim, which is a editor. It's like Notepad, but for engineers.
What do you use Vim for? For coding?
Yeah, Vim's for coding. Although people don't use Vim anymore. Oh. They use NeoVim, which is like Vim with some like cool extensions.
With Neo.
Like a matrix Vim. And so SuperHuman is takes your email and just makes it work. You can very quickly do it with keyboard shortcuts. It's got keyboard shortcuts for like different snippets for like quickly replying to somebody. Like somebody like, hey, meet Flavio. Flavio is, founder that's doing X. You guys should talk. So that email is always like, thanks, Jim, to BCC. Emily, very nice to meet you. How does Tuesday and Thursday? Let's chat on a call. It automates all that. So it's just like one click and then it builds out. It puts their names too. So it takes their names, it puts it in there, all with one keyboard shortcut.
Wait, did you have to make that template or it knows to do that?
It has a default one. I don't know if you can change it actually, but probably can. But the default one's great. And it's stuff like if you say like in an email, like, how does Tuesday, it like pops up your Google Calendar on the right. So you
really
have to see like my Tuesday looks like, what about 12, something 12, like 1 p.m. So that's nice. What else does it do? A lot of schedule sends. I do a lot of schedule sends.
Me too.
Like if you want to show somebody you're working really hard, you schedule a send for like 2:34 in the morning. Somebody's like, wow, this email came at 2:34 and now it's 8 a.m. and we're on a call, so you must have not slept at all.
Worked all night.
It's like, I'm so dedicated to our company goals and anyway, so it does a bunch of other stuff. I wasn't going to talk about SuperHuman. I was actually going to talk about VimCal.
What is that?
VimCal is a calendar also based on the same concept, but it's like quick to navigate with keyboard shortcuts. What I love about that is you can copy and paste availability. So if you're in an email and you want to give somebody like 5 times their work, then you gotta like go to.
I do this every day.
Back and like type this one and that. And like it's got. Or you can do like a Calendly, which looks like you're an asshole.
Yeah, you look like a prick. Yeah, totally.
This link and deal with it because I don't have the time to give a shit about you.
It's like very holier than thou. It's very difficult.
Well, with VimCal, you basically just select in your calendar 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever time slots you want, and then you do Command C. So you're like just copying these slots. and then you go into email, just hit paste, and it automatically puts in like, how about this from this, this from this, this from this, in like text that like doesn't look like you're a jackass. And
so Meeting Bar, I think, is one of those apps that it's like this for me. So I was on the same hunt, right? You do 10 meetings a day, 15 meetings a day. Is it a Google Meet? Is it a Zoom? Am I hosting the Zoom? Is it somebody else's Zoom? So this thing called Meeting Bar, and it Mac OS only, but it lives up there. And 5 minutes before, it just pops open a little button. It sounds very similar to Cron, but I love that it's unobtrusive, and it also is really. So one of the things that was annoying about some of these other apps is that it would show me my internal stuff. Like I don't want a pop-up for a reminder to myself, or I'm just added to it and like I'm not going to that meeting. So I have all these little customizations where it'll only show meetings with other people, non-Signal Insights people, right? I can kind of add these rules, and then so when something pops up, I know it's important. I really do need to show up versus.
Oh, that's a good point. I guess I didn't realize that Cron does only pop up when the calendar invite has a, conferencing thing. If it doesn't, I just realized like it never pops up.
That's even better. There you go.
Interesting. Yeah. So anyway, I'll keep some for next time. I don't know how much time we went into it, but do you have any other thoughts you want to cover?
No, I think this is great.
Awesome. Let's call it a pod.
All right. Great pod.
All right.
Woo! Thank you for rocking with the homies. Taylor, Trusty, and Flavio. Seize the day, own it. Until next time, hold it down, hold it down. Hey.